All right, music fans and truth seekers and weather geeks, welcome. Harmless Dave here, talking about things that I shouldn't talk about. Stay in your lane, dude. Stop yelling at the cloud, man. Stop yelling at the cloud. Yes, almost feeling better. I'm almost feeling better, even though I have plenty of reasons today not to feel so good. And doing what I do in somewhat real time and doing it for a few people here who are nice people. Some of the people are nice, and some people have whole channels that they've designed, right? This is so cool. Like they could talk about me of all the people to talk about in the world. Not Joe Biden, right? Not Kamala, not her. Nope. They talk about me. Like I have an impact on the world. That's funny. Um, but yeah, it just shows how much power I have. Shows how popular I am. Even though I've noticed the last 12 hours, my subscriber rate froze. It stopped. So somebody again is just like, all right, just turn the knob off. So I it's just this, I'll tell you what, doing this has been a real adventure. Just me being me, saying things, right? I get accused of all manner of stuff that has nothing to do with me. It's you don't know me as a person, but yet you're making all these assumptions about me. And this is wild. It's wild and it's so frustrating. I mean, I don't drink. I don't drink anything. I should, though. I should drink vodka, but I don't. But I might start. Anyway, so we've got this hurricane, Milty. Uncle Milty is going to visit Florida with possible top sustained winds of 140 miles per hour. It may weaken a little before it comes on shore. Uh, like all these forecast models, they just can't pinpoint a location right now, which has the entire west coast of Florida a little on edge. You go out there and it's Armageddon. I went out, gas lines, propane lines, people just grabbing at batteries and flashlights and candles. It's a lot of fun. So, a patron of mine, who just a great patron, she's a journey junkie, and she sent me something this morning, and she's like, "Do you think they're engineering this?" And it's not the first time I've heard that. And do you think this is beyond the government? So if you don't believe in any conspiracy theories at all, like you think this possibly, like, I trust these people implicitly with everything. I think they're more pure than the wind-driven snow in Alaska, right? Okay, well, let's take a look at what this guy Mayorkas said on Wednesday of last week. Okay, just one line of this, it pops right out at me, and I'm sure it will for you as well. So, of course, first of all, they don't have any money because they've sent it all to Ukraine. The money has gone to Ukraine. Um, we wish we had money to help people in Appalachia, but we don't. He says, though, we are meeting the immediate needs with the money that we have. But here's the next line. This was last Wednesday, and you had two Atlantic hurricanes that are basically fish storms that are still out there. Like, was it Kirk and Leslie or something like that? But he says, we are expecting another hurricane hitting, not just another hurricane, but another hurricane hitting. We do not have the funds. FEMA does not have the funds to make it through the season. Oh my gosh. So he knew that there was another hurricane that was going to hit. Now, I know if you've been watching the weather, especially here in Southwest Florida, what happened after Helene, they started talking about, yep, another one's coming, going to develop in the same spot. It's going to be, if you remember this, they said copycat storm. It's going to be a copycat, going to go the same track, going to have the same characteristics, going to be a big monster storm. That didn't happen. Instead, a hurricane developed in a somewhat unusual place in the Gulf of Mexico, in the sense that that place, typically hurricanes in the Gulf typically come into the Gulf through the Caribbean. And then, they'll go north. Sometimes they'll go west toward Texas, and then some hook and go towards Florida. This is developing just off the coast of Mexico, going to go close to the Yucatan, and then it's going to go. It's like hurricanes typically don't do this in this part of the world. But, and in fact, a forecaster last night, I was watching some guy and he's like, yeah, this is highly unusual. This may happen once in like 100 years, but they can't recall when a hurricane developed close to Texas like this, or Mexico, and then moved toward Florida. Like the classic is moving from west to east, which they don't do. This doesn't happen like this. So this gives the hurricane time to absorb all of that warm Gulf of Mexico water and develop. And again, they kept saying, well, there's nothing there, but there will be there. This happens too pretty much every time now there's a hurricane. Helene, there was nothing there. And they kept telling you, well, there's going to be something there soon. It's not there yet, but it's going to be there. How do they know? This is just bizarre. Now, I'm sure they have all kinds of advanced modeling equipment, and they know that the atmosphere is going to converge in this location. But not only did Mayorkas here know that there would be a hurricane, but he knew it was going to hit. So that's pretty impressive there, Mayorkas, who's out of money, who's way over his head. They didn't hire anybody to do anything in this administration. Ron DeSantis could have run 100 circles around this guy and gotten everything done with half the money this guy has spent. And again, the problem, though, I know is Ukraine. It's Ukraine. So, and then if you're a real diehard into this stuff, there's another gentleman by the name of Dane Wigington. Dane Wigington. He's been around for a while, and he has a website called geoengineeringwatch.org. And his latest installment, he says, Milton expected to become a major hurricane before slamming into Florida. After a perplexing lull in what was scheduled to be the worst hurricane season ever, the storms are now being ramped up. This is according to Dane, right? And look, you may think this guy is a little bit over his skis and so forth. I don't. You know what? Here's another quote. If you've never heard the quote, I don't have the quote, but you can go find the quote. It's out there. Dane Wigington, every video he does, he plays the quote. It's the intro to his podcast, where Lyndon Johnson says, if we control the weather, this is like 1966 or something. If we control the weather, we control the world. In the 1960s, they were working on technology to control the weather. So fast forward 50 plus years, and do you think we may have gotten a little better at trying to control the weather? Possibly. Is it let me put it this way. Is it a possibility? 100%. Why wouldn't that be a possibility based on what the president of the United States said back in 1960 whatever? And people, you're just a conspiracy theorist. You're just creepy. You're creepy, man. Yeah, okay. Well, you know what's creepy? It's creepy that the government might actually be engaged in this. And they might be doing it for partisan reasons. On top of it, let's destroy Florida. People like Florida. Oh, yeah, you're going to leave these crime-infested places and go to Florida where they have law and order, where they have decency, where kids aren't learning crazy crap in school, where there are some laws in place where people actually get prosecuted. Yeah, and we don't want that to succeed. No. I mean, there are still a number of other states that aren't really affected by hurricanes. But think what happened with Helene. Helene goes right up into the Appalachian mountain chain. That's unusual. That's very unusual. And who votes, or who do they vote for? Who did the Appalachian type people vote for? They didn't vote for Biden unless, their ballot was changed or something. So you add, all of that with Helene and forgetting about those people. And then now we're going to send another one in this weird path from west to east across the Gulf of Mexico. Again, I'm a weather geek. When I was a little kid, I used to keep a weather journal. I lived up in New England and I had this little brown notebook and I used to, and I remember coming back from college and my parents still had it. And I was looking through it. I was like, man, I was hardcore. I was I was writing down like the wind speeds and the temperature change, and the snow changed back to rain, and then the rain changed to snow again, and we had thunder snow and all this stuff. I just would totally get into that stuff. So this stuff is intriguing to me. It's it's really not the same though if it's artificial. If they can manipulate the weather, and again, I have no proof, no proof. Okay, it's a fact-free video. No proof except that the president of the United States in 1966 said, if we control the weather, we control the world. But I have no proof. In Mayorkas, a hurricane is definitely going to hit. I mean, a hurricane could develop, but who says it's going to hit? How'd you know it was going to hit? Mayorkas? So these are some things to think about. Yes, the hurricane is headed this way. I listened to Lost and Found by the Kinks again. It doesn't help me, but it's a song that I associate with hurricanes. And if you haven't heard the song, you should go listen to it. Um, I don't know, folks. I don't know. I find this last week things have gotten weird with the channel. They've gotten weird with me. They've gotten weird with people who I guess don't like me for whatever reason. And I don't mean anybody any harm. I really don't. And, if I'm making fun of a rock star or saying a truthful thing about a credit card that someone maxed out or whatever, I don't understand how that's a problem just to talk about that stuff. I just don't. Or to have an opinion on if someone can still sing or if they can't sing. And if that upsets you so much that you're going to create a channel or make videos or whatever it is that you're going to do to push back against me, because you can't blast the page with crappy comments and ruin the algorithm that way, then guess what? You'll have people who are looking to watch me going to watch your foolishness. And that's on you. I mean, why not produce some of your own original stuff? Talk about something that you care about. I'm talking about how I think the weather is being manipulated today. That's a pretty interesting topic. And I would go check out geoengineeringwatch.com. It's a really good website. And you can go watch the videos too on YouTube. And there's a lot. There's a lot of content here. Dane Wigington, I'd love to get him on the show just to chat with him. And, he's not a climate change guy. He's a climate engineering guy. So climate, you know what? Climate change could be just a smokescreen for what they're really doing to the atmosphere. So anyway, that's my crazy conspiracy theorist video for today, folks. And the frustration, can you feel it? Yeah. All right. Well, I'm going to take a break. I'll be back, though. Guaranteed, I'll be back.